Hey guys, it's Ronnie, and I'm here with the podcast finally. I can't remember the last time I did one. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to do what I can when I can. So I have about a half hour before the 8-year-old comes, and I have some questions here that honestly have been sitting in my inbox for years. I can't keep up. I'm doing my best. So I hope you can forgive me. They're still very good questions and viable, even though probably not to the people who originally asked them. So I'm going to answer them anyway and hope that they can forgive me as well. So I'm going to get right to it. Trying to think about anything I wanted to say beforehand. No, I'm not going to waste any time. I'm just going to go right into questions. So the first one's from Becky. And Becky says, why is it that I just can't stay in it? I want this more than anyone. When I eat good and exercise, I feel awesome. But every time I get going and do good, as soon as I slip up, it takes me forever to get back on track. I was at my lowest right before Christmas, and now probably I'm up 15 pounds. By the way, this is last Christmas. I just want to sit and eat chocolate and cry all day. Oh, I know, I feel that way quite a bit. I'm so pissed at myself, but can't get into the groove. I feel like a whale. I hate everything and how it looks on me. I have an amazing husband who supports me in whatever I do. I seriously sometimes say, I bet people look at us and say, damn, why is he with her? Oh, don't think things like that. That's horrible. He's a handsome and great guy. I know I'm a good person and overall outgoing, and I get along with everyone. And I love who I am on the inside, but hate the outside. How do I get out of this? Everyone says if you want it bad enough, you will just do it, but I'm finding that hard to believe. Do I have an addiction to food? I just need to get control somehow before I'm back to whatever weight. I'm going to try to avoid weights, which I might be now. My husband loves me for who I am, and that's okay, but I am not. And my daughter, who's 13, makes comments on why I don't dress the way that I used to. Any advice on how I can drill this into my head or get control again? I love your site. Okay, Becky. It's funny because when I read your question, I can hear myself in it because I go through these cycles too where I just feel really crappy about myself. Like I want to wear baggy clothes. I don't care what I eat. I don't care if I go to the gym. Like I just kind of came off one of these the last week, kind of one of these funks. That's what I call it a funk. And so, I mean, I think the first thing you have to realize is that I think everyone has moments like this. And the only way to get through them is to I used the phrase all week that I was just treading water. I was just doing what I could when I could. I was making the best decisions I can. I was just forgiving myself because it's kind of like riding out the storm. Sooner or later, you're going to get out of that funk. But you got to keep pushing through, even though you may not be doing everything perfectly in your mind, getting to the gym, eating whatever diet you want to eat perfectly, drinking all your water, whatever your daily goals are. Like sometimes there's just phases that we go through where we're just not going to be 100%. We're just not going to be in the game all the way. And I think part of the success is realizing that, being okay with that, forgiving yourself for that, but keep trucking along, doing what it is that you can do in the current mood that you're in now. Do you know what I mean? So when you say something like, I get going, and as soon as I do good, I slip up, and it takes me forever to get back on track. The slip-ups are going to happen. So you have to accept the slip-up's going to happen and then just say, okay, that's part of the plan. I'm moving on now. Immediately. Not, I had a cookie at lunch. I might as well order a double stuffed pizza for dinner. And then tomorrow you wake up and you think, okay, this is the day. I'm going to do really good today. And then, you eat a good breakfast, but then someone brings donuts into the office. And now you're like, oh, I really want a donut. I might as well have a donut. I'll start again tomorrow. It'll be fine. And then you get into that cycle where you start every day and something happens and then you fall off the wagon and then the next day will be perfect again, or, well, screw it, I'll just wait till Sunday, or whatever it may be. You have to stop that mentality, and you really have to embrace that everything is on plan. Everything is on a plan. So if you have that cookie, or however you slip up, however you define slip up, take that definition out. Just remove it. It's not there anymore. You're not slipping up. You're just making a different decision, and you have to own that decision and move on and forgive yourself. Sometimes I would say you don't even have to forgive yourself. You just have to own the decision. You know, if you want a damn cookie, have a damn cookie, and then move on. It's that mentality of looking at the cookie, and you guys all know I'm using cookie just as an example here. It could be whatever it is, not going to the gym, having a drink, baking something with the kids. I always go back to cookie. Used to be pizza. But stop looking at it as a slip up and just own that you want it and then move on. And you'll start to slowly change your mentality anymore. So like when I go through those phases of where I just don't feel good, I'm just like blah, like I hate my life and nothing looks good on me and whatever it might be, I just go through that and it happens. I still do my best to make the best decisions I can. And at the end of the day, if I want to share some Ben & Jerry's with the 8-year-old on the couch while we watch The Voice, I'm going to do it. And I do it. And I own it. And I don't beat myself up, because the next day I'm going to wake up and I'm not going to have the mentality of, oh, I'm going to be perfect today. I'm going to have the mentality, I'm going to do the best I can today. And hopefully what happens over time is that your momentum comes back. So if you start to own the decisions, just own it. Don't start the guilt complex dieting cycle of hell thing. Don't do that. Just own it. I want Ben & Jerry's. Own it. Eat it. Wake up the next day. Have a good breakfast. Move on. Get to the gym. Do whatever it is that you do and get into that groove right away. I really think there's a lot of power in just reframing it. Reframing the way we think about slip-ups, they're not slip-ups, they're on plan. That's what you want, and have it, move on right away. Instead of making things off limits. It takes time, because I still struggle with it a little bit. I still have a little bit of that tinge of, I already ruined the day. It happens, but I think, again, the more we do it, the more we practice it, the better we get at this mentality of, sometimes you're not going to be 100% in the game, and that's fine. You just move on. So, I think you end with how I can get. I thought you ended with how can I get back in the game, but you ended with how do you get control again. You're in control. You're in control. Just every decision, make it and own it and move on. Just whatever that decision might be, and your goal is just more good decisions than bad decisions, even if you want to define good and bad. But own the bad just as much as you own the good. Does that make sense? I feel like I just rambled on there. I'm not sure if I actually made any sense, but it did in my mind. So hopefully a few people will relate. Okay, I'm gonna move on. I feel like I'm going at super speed because I'm looking at the clock, and I don't know how other parents feel who happen to be home during, the afternoon when the kids come home from school. But I feel like the clock accelerates in speed after lunch. Once lunch comes, then all of a sudden it's 2. And then it's hey, I only have 20 minutes before the bus comes. I'm like, oh. Which, by the way, I just know I got a new Fitbit. So if you know the story of the Fitbit, I fell in love with the one. That's what it's called, the Fitbit one. I did a huge review on the site. I'll put it in the comments or whatever in the description of the video. And I lost it. I was given to it, so it's like one of those, there's a phrase there. I didn't pay for it, I didn't buy it. I mean, not that I didn't take care of it. I had it clipped and it must have just fell off somewhere when I was traveling. So I decided to buy a different Fitbit version so that I can review a different one and see how they compare. So look for that on the blog in the next couple days, maybe a week. And I'll do the Flex. And I'm hoping to get the Force. That one. I don't know if you guys keep up with. I'm kind of a little bit of a dork when it comes to gadgets. Okay. Anyway, that helps slow me down a little bit. All right. I'm going to answer Christina's question next. Christina says, you might have answered this already, but I am curious what your motivation has been. I know from your blog that changes over time, but did it begin with you concentrating on losing 10 pounds by a certain date or fitting into an outfit, or looking good for an event. I know once you got really into working out, that has become a motivator for you. But how about in the beginning? I struggle with setting goals, and if I don't meet them, I beat myself up. It ends up with me feeling like a failure. Christina, this is an interesting question. I mean, I can answer the question on what my initial goals was, but I think you kind of opened up a can of worms with the short goals. I kind of have the opposite experience, but I think we've approached things two different ways. So when I set goals and I reach them, I feel like it builds my confidence. But you're right. If you set goals and you fail at them, the opposite happens, and you start to feel like a failure. And I would say it's because of the kinds of goals that you are setting. So none of your examples were my initial motivator to lose weight. So for me, they used to be my motivators, and I failed every time when they were all through teens and 20s. It was the whole, I'm going to lose 10 pounds, I'm going to look good in a bikini, I'm going to wear this prom dress, whatever it might be. And those were the type of goals that kind of kept me stuck in this cycle, the dieting cycle, the yo-yo dieting cycle of hell. That's what I always call it. A motivator was to, in a weird way, my goal was to stop those kinds of goals. That I was done. I wanted to lose weight, and that was a goal, but I started to focus on different things. And for me, if you have read any of the archives or way back, I've been doing this way too long and I have too much information about myself online. It came down to having a child. So when I had Ryan, who is now 8, it creeps me out every time I think about it. My goal was to no longer be stuck in the yo-yo dieting cycle of hell. So I wanted to lose weight, but I really did reframe. I really did refocus and just say, okay, I want to lose weight. That's my ultimate goal. I didn't pick a goal weight. I didn't pick a size. I didn't pick a dress. I didn't have a skinny pair of jeans I wanted to get into. I didn't do all of the things that I used to do, which, were all my motivating or demotivating goals in the past. My goal was just to be healthy and fit and stop the bad relationship I had with food and to find balance. And so it was really a big shift in my motivation. I still went to Weight Watchers. I still counted points. I still food journaled. I did all the things that you would do if your goal was to lose 10 pounds or fit into a size 6 or whatever it might be. But I really did, and I talk about this a lot, I really did reframe my motivation for doing those things. For changing my diet, for trying new foods, for food journaling, for moving more, for all those things. All my motivation to do those things wasn't to fit in a certain size. My motivation to do those things was I wanted to be healthier for my kid, for my son, so that I can be a really active mom. Look, I'm going to get teary. I still get teary about this. God, it's really emotional for me, and I don't know why. It's whatever. Okay, I'm not going to cry. But that was really my motivation. And so my goal was I didn't want to be a person who was constantly yo-yo dieting and using my bad body image as an excuse for not enjoying my son's childhood. Oh wow, I'm not gonna cry. And so that's still my goal, and I'm succeeding at that goal. I took him rafting this year. We go rock wall climbing. We take hikes. I'm not going to go any more into information about my son, but that was my initial motivations for getting it started. Now it's the momentum that keeps me going. I'm not getting any younger. I actually have been feeling really old lately, not physically, just mentally old. I've been hanging out with younger people at the gym, and it's just I don't know, it's in my face anymore that I'm older than everyone around me, and it's like creeping me out. But yeah, so now my motivation is to stay as healthy as possible for as long as possible so I can enjoy my kids and hopefully my grandkids, well into old age. So that's what gets me out of the door at 5:30 in the morning to the gym It gets me running, joining CSAs and trying new fruits and vegetables. I mean, I have other motivations mixed in there. I want to teach my kids to be good eaters. I want to set them a good example, But yeah, my motivation really came down to changing bad habits and getting out of the cycle. So, I mean, the goals that you listed, the losing certain weight by a certain date and all those things, I mean, they work for some people. But more often than not, I think they do become counterproductive. And then you do start to feel like a failure because sometimes you don't have, you have control, but you don't have total control. The scale may not always represent or give you the feedback that, what's the word I'm looking for? It may not show your effort. Do you know what I'm saying? So you may be doing everything on paper right, but yet that scale won't budge for whatever reason. And so then you will start to feel like a failure. And then you will end up kind of using a slip up as a reason to stop whatever good habits you're in the middle of creating. So I would say, I don't think there's anything wrong with having a goal weight in mind. I think you have to be really, really conscious of what your body is capable of being able to do and what size you can get to. But really the focus, your main focus should be on just creating good habits and a sustainable lifestyle that you're willing to do for the rest of your life to maintain your weight. And I always say my goal now is to be happy with the weight and my body, which is a result of the lifestyle I'm living. So I don't work out to sculpt my abs or, get a certain butt or whatever. I find all those kinds of goals unmotivating. They demotivate me. There's too much pressure I put on myself. And I've learned over the years, especially with my workouts, I really do enjoy working out now. Now it's an outlet. Now it's just how I unwind. I enjoy the competition of things. I enjoy seeing how much stronger I'm getting, but I'm not doing it for a certain size or physique because that's always been counterproductive for me. And maybe it's my background and my history with body image. But yeah, those kinds of goals, not for me. So that's my opinion on goal setting, Christina. I hope it helps. And maybe you could set kind of more healthier goals, like a new vegetable a week or cooking more at home or stop artificial sweeteners or I don't know. You could set calorie goals even. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Things like that, but not certain sizes, certain weights, those things I think become counterproductive. Okay. I have a third question here, but I don't know who it's from because I didn't copy and paste the name, and now I feel really bad. Okay, so, now I have to figure out who it's from because, let me see. I should be able to do it. I'm trying a new technique with my questions. I'm having a hard time. I swear, sometimes I think I've re-answered some of the questions because I can't remember which ones I've answered, which ones I haven't, because I used to be good at keeping everything, but now I've lost control. Okay, it's from Melissa. I found out who did it. It's from Melissa. Now I get my video back up. Okay, so Melissa says, "Hi Ronnie, I love your site. I read your blog. I've read your blog for years and have tried several of your recipes." That's so cool. When anyone says they try, they eat something that I've made, it's such a rewarding feeling. I know you've talked about it in the past, about your yo-yo dieting cycle from hell. I feel like I'm there right now. I did Weight Watchers, the old program, and lost 25 of the 40 I was trying to lose. Then, when they switched the program, I didn't care for it. I had a hard time getting back into counting points. The weight that I lost started creeping back on. Now, I only stick to it for a couple of days, and then I say screw it, and I eat everything. Then spend the next couple of days mad at myself and hating diets altogether. I know you've been able to find a balance in dieting and no longer need to count points. What I wouldn't give to be able to do that, but I guess I've never really tried. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I've been on a diet since I was 11. Yep, that's pretty much about when I started. I feel like it's all I know. I guess my question is, what advice would you give someone who wants to lose weight and live a healthier life, but just doesn't think that they can diet anymore? Any advice would be great. Thank you so much for all you do. There's so much crazy diet advice out there. Your site is a place I go for sanity. Oh, well, thank you, Melissa. I think you're hitting a breaking point. Again, you wrote this over a year ago, so hopefully you've made this realization on your own. But I think you're hitting, like, you're cresting. When you, and this is exactly how I felt. When you feel like you just can't diet anymore, you just can't keep in that cycle of, I'm going to eat no carbs for the next 4 months, and I'm not going to, low fat, or I'm going to eat cabbage soup before every meal, or whatever that, like, the mentality of dieting where you're doing something for a short amount of time just for the sole goal of losing weight. The fact that you don't want to do that anymore says to me that you're, like, ready. Like, you're done, you're moving on, and you can finally make some progress, because that's how I felt. Like, I didn't want to do this, and I didn't want to pop Xenadrin pills, or take phentermine, or do things, or buy certain food from a diet plan and only eat packaged stuff that comes to my house. Or I don't like those things. I'm not denying that they can possibly work for weight loss. I'm sure, if you take appetite suppressant pills and you eat less, you're going to lose weight. If someone prepares all your meals for you and puts them in a little package and you only eat that for 7 days, 14 days, 30 days, you're going to lose weight. But do you want to do that forever? And then what happens when you go back? You can't afford some of these things for a lifetime. B, they're not healthy for you for a lifetime. And then C, like, you're not learning anything. So, in my opinion, again, this is all my opinion. You can take it or leave it. I'm just some crazy woman with a website. I don't have any, letters after my name or anything like that. But in my experience, as someone who did all of those things before and then just kept regaining and losing and regaining and losing and regaining and losing the same 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds, it's time you just say that's enough of this diet concept. I still use the word diet. I'm not on a diet. I eat a diet. Like, I'll say, I'm adding this to my diet, meaning what I eat. Diet doesn't have the same meaning to me that it used to. You really just have to approach a new lifestyle, and you have to start to come to terms with that. All right, sorry, my thing just froze on me. I've been having a lot of technical problems lately. So anyway, we were talking about dieting and no longer dieting, being sick of diets, which I think is a really good sign, because I think you've had enough. In my opinion, there's two paths you can take when you hit this point of I'm so done, I'm done with dieting, I'm done, I'm finished. There's two paths. There's one where you just eat whatever the heck you want, whenever you want, and you don't care. And that path that's great. If you can go down that path and be completely happy with the way your body looks, with whatever it is that you're eating, great. I so wish I could be one of those people. I'm trying to become one of those people. But I have so much baggage. But yeah, that's great. That's great. But more than likely, if you have a history with dieting and body image and getting into the cycle and all those stuff, you might have taken another path, which is the path that I took. Again, I'm not trying to be like egomaniac here, but the path that I took was, okay, I'm going to be conscious. I'm going to be conscious of what I'm eating. I'm going to keep a food journal. I might count points or calories even. You can call it a diet. If you want to call it a diet, that's a diet. Maybe in your opinion, I'm still dieting. But nothing's off limits to me. Like, I no longer say I'm only going to eat vegetables, or never a carb again, or I'm going paleo, or no desserts, no ice cream with my kids, no Halloween candy. No. I don't want to live a life like that. I don't. I think there's balance to be found. I think being conscious of what I'm eating, not mindlessly getting into modes where I'm just binging at the end of the day for no apparent reason. I still binge at the end of the day, but I'm very conscious that I'm binging, and I'm aware, and I'm working on never feeling guilty about it. Notice I said working on it. But I'm also, I kind of set rules for myself. Doritos aren't off limits, but I'm not going to pick a bag of Doritos out of the pantry and just sit there and mindlessly eat the whole thing. If I want a Dorito, have a little bit of Dorito. Have some Dorito, walk away. Tell the husband not to buy them for a few weeks. Do whatever. So I don't know. It's just a mindset, and it's really hard for me to capture it and explain it. But I really think you can go down a path of being conscious, being aware, and constantly working on not increasing, but bettering your diet. Bettering, is that a word? Bettering, making your diet better. Trying to incorporate more fruits and vegetables. Watching certain things. Like I have recently reintroduced bacon in my diet. It's kind of one of those things where I just forgot bacon existed, and now I'm a little obsessed with bacon. But I think a little bit of bacon now and then is a good thing. But I mean, just being conscious. I try to eat healthier. I try new things. Like I buy a bag of chia seeds and figure out how to use it. Or what's the newest thing now? Oh, I'm like obsessed with cocoa nibs. Again, not that they're not a diet food or something else. They're just something different, something new, something that's not processed or coming out of a box that I just snack on mindlessly. So I think I'm murdering what it is that I want to say, but that path of being conscious and aware without feeling restricted, I think that exists, and I think you can find it. I think it just it takes a little bit of effort and awareness, and it's I don't know. There's a balance between, like, I'm in a different place, so sometimes it's hard for me to remember, But when I started, I kept a food journal, I counted points, and I weighed myself pretty consistently for that feedback. So, my goal was to lose weight. It really was. But I was really approaching it with this whole other mindset that I really think helped me succeed. I don't know. I feel like we should get together weight maintainers and just have us, brainstorm it out, because I think a lot of us have had this revelation where you can still have goals. You're not dieting anymore. It's just different. So Melissa, back to you. I'm sorry. My advice would be to, yes, walk away from the diet. Walk away from dieting. Don't do any more research. Don't buy any more diet books. Done. And then take small steps. I'll refer to my own post where I do this. There's 3 steps, right? Work on loving you right now. Right now, just put yourself out of your comfort zone. Do things you're afraid to do. Wear things you're afraid to wear. Just work on you, regardless of what you look like at this moment. Move more. It doesn't have to be gym membership. Doesn't have to be CrossFit. Doesn't have to be running. That just happens to be what I do. But just move more. Consciously decide. I'm going to go for a walk after dinner. Consciously decide. I'm going to play with the kids outside. Consciously decide you're going to walk to the library instead of drive, even though it's a mile away. Consciously get off the couch and move more. I think that's huge. And then finally, just stateless dieting. I don't want to use the word dieting, so I won't use it anymore. Just be conscious of your diet. Be aware. Make the best decisions you can, and don't go through guilt cycles. Just try to eat healthier. I think most of us now know what that means. I really don't think there's a lot of people out there that don't know what is good for them and what is bad for them. Again, I don't like to label the food, but that's like the easiest way to express what I'm talking about. So those are my 3 things. Body image, start working on you. Moving more, and then just be conscious of your diet, and then own all the decisions you make, and don't mindlessly eat things. I'm talking to myself there, because I'm a mindless eater. Okay, I'm going to move on, because now I have to squish in editing time, because I have weird editing issues. All right, Chris is the next question. Chris says, Ronnie, I have been following you for years, in caps, years. I can't believe I've been doing it years. See, I'm having another old moment. When I go back and look at old videos, when I first started these, I have like long hair. I have like soft, subtle skin. I'm like young and in my 20s. Actually, early 30s, which I liked my early 30s. Okay, anyway. I've been following you for years on your website, Facebook, Instagram. And she puts in parentheses, wait, does that qualify as stalking? No, because I put it out there, I would say. Anyway, I'm loving all of your yogurt combinations you're doing right now. So she wrote this spring when I was doing daily yogurt. I do miss daily yogurt. It's a lot of work though, coming up with new yogurt ideas every day. I did it, I think, for almost 2 months. It was really fun. So I actually have some archives I can link to with all my yogurt ideas. She was wondering if I buy only organic products, meats, and dairy, or do you just opt for the healthiest option, even if it's not organic? I have 2 kids. I am lucky enough that they both love fruits and vegetables, but I'm getting tired of the same old sides of steamed broccoli and green beans. What are a few of staples that you always have on hand? All right. Oh, Chris, I love this question. Okay. I've talked about this before, and I'm probably going to get stoned again. I'm not a big organic nut. I'm more of a unprocessed local nut. So, and some of that stuff is organic and some of it is not. And I know the importance of organic. I get it. You can lecture me all you want. Right now, this is the battle. I'm fighting the local unprocessed battle. And when I have that under control, I will move on to the organic battle. But sometimes I think organic, just because you eat organic crackers doesn't make the crackers any better for you. They're still crackers. So and I know not everyone who's like on the organic bandwagon buys organic crackers. I'm just using that as an example. So I tend to, I actually just joined a new CSA, local. So I used to belong to one that ran from like April to like November, and I would go to the farm once a week with the kids, and we would like pick some of our own stuff, and they would have a share for us. And you had to commit to the season. And I did that for 2 years. And I loved it. It was great. I got and they were organic, even though they weren't certified organic, because a lot of the smaller farmers can't get all the certifications or whatever. I'm not even going to pretend to know what they need to do. I just know they need to do a lot. And they started to do chickens and eggs, which was great because I can get chicken and I was able to get eggs. And they're increasing like all of their offerings, which is really nice. But it's a lot of work. And getting up there with a toddler when an 8-year-old has a soccer game and we have Boy Scouts and the husband has a tennis match, and it became really, really overwhelming. So I left the CSA. And then I tried to hit the farmers markets, and to be honest, I said I would, and then I never really did. It's one of those things where it was easier to go to the grocery store. But now I found a new CSA, which now delivers it doesn't deliver to my house, although that would be really great, but it delivers, there's a pickup at a church not that far away. And this CSA does all regional, local. So some of it's a little bit from Pennsylvania, a little bit Maryland, a little bit of Jersey. It's kind of all in this region. And they not only do produce, all seasonal produce, they do it meats and dairy, and even seafood, and even breads, although I opted out of the bread. Because I just can't be trusted with bread, and I know I'll be the only one that eats it. What else do they do? They do fruits, vegetables. I can't remember. But I just started. I got my first share last week, and I am in love. I'm in love. And it's presented me, the reason why I like the CSA concept, and I know it's not available for everybody, but there's a website. It's called Local Harvest, and you can see if there's any CSA or farm stands and those kinds of things in your local area. But the reason why I like the getting the share, it's so my personality. Like I can go to the farm stands and I can say, oh, I want this broccoli and this zucchini and these peppers. But then like you, Chris, I feel like I'm in a rut because I'm always buying the same things because those are the things that I know. Those are the things I know my kids will eat. Those are the things, The CSA, they go, here's a box of stuff. Eat it. And I go, whoa, this is great. Kohlrabi, what the hell is that? Or what was in the last one? I mean, a huge head of cabbage. Now, I like cabbage, but it's one of those things that I forget to buy. Like, I don't forget to buy it. It's just not in my consciousness. But when someone gives me a head of cabbage, I make fun coleslaws. What else did we get? We got carrots. We had breakfast sausage. Fresh breakfast sausage from a local, I was going to say farm, but it's I guess it's a farm, but there's another name for where they do the meats. And the ingredients list, I should go get it and show you. It said pork, brown sugar, spices. Something, it was like 3 things. And I was like, oh, this is what food should be. This is amazing. This is awesome. So, to answer your question, Chris, I look to CSAs to help me and to mix things up. Before the CSAs, I would challenge myself to buy 1 new thing a week at the grocery store. And so that's how Ryan and I, the old toddler, we had years of like what we used to do videos of produce picks. And now he still gets into it. Like if he sees something in the grocery store that we've never eaten before, he says we should do a video, which is great. But yeah, so I would challenge yourself to buy something new out of the produce department of the grocery store weekly. Something that you don't normally buy. Maybe it's not even new to you. It's just something that you forget about. But you have to walk into the grocery store with that goal of I'm going to buy something just off the wall today, not my same old broccoli and green beans. You know, I'm going to buy a winter squash today. I don't even know what I'm going to do with it until I get it home, but I'm going to buy it anyway. That's been sneaking by. Even though I told him I was doing a video, but apparently he could stay in his office for a half hour. No, okay. And now I made him feel really guilty. And he's still listening at the bottom of the stairs. Anyway, what was I saying? Yes, so go in with the goal of I'm going to buy something new. I buy things out of the grocery store all the time, and I have no idea what I'm going to do with it. Like, I'll just buy something that I see, like an eggplant, and go, I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but it's on sale, and it looks yummy. And then I'll go home and roast it or puree it, or I'll look online for ideas. So you have to challenge yourself and don't get stuck in the rut. So if you have available to you a CSA, that's a great way, because again, they just give you a share and you just got a deal. And I think it's teaching my kids some really good habits. I've had this conversation with the 8-year-old already, where I'll make something a little, like the other day I made a frittata for dinner. I ended up with like 4 dozen eggs because I had eggs already and then I got eggs in the share. And I was like, okay, we need to use up these eggs. So I hard-boiled some for lunches. And then I thought, oh, I'll just make a frittata. So I used the breakfast sausage I got in the share. I cut it up. I fried it up. I added peppers. I added spinach. I added some other vegetable. I can't remember. Some onion. And then I just cracked like 8 eggs, whipped it all up, put it in the pan, put it in the oven, and I served this like frittata. It's kind of like a quiche, but I don't use cheese because I don't like cheese in the eggs. But it's just basically like an omelet. And I made it for dinner. And the faces on the family was like, what's that? And I go, it's eggs. It's eggs. It's eggs and peppers and spinach and sausage. All things that you like. They just happen to be in one pot. And so they made a few faces. Even the husband, he was like, can't you just make like chicken legs? He gets so tired of I was like, look, you don't have to eat it if you want to eat it. You know, I always ask him to be a good example for the kids. Take a couple bites. And Ryan took a bite and he was, oh, it's pretty good. Said yes. And so then we had a conversation about how he needs to be flexible. Flexible. You have to be flexible. You're not always going to get what you like all the time. And so I really think we have to push ourselves out of our kind of food comfort zones and go with the flow. Buy something new. The kids may or may not like it, but involve them. Make them part of the decision process. Have them pick out something new. Research it together online. Do a fun video, you know? I just think it's fun. It's fun. And if you frame it that it's fun instead of a chore, and I'm going to say this in every stinking video. It's all in the way you approach it. You can make dieting, a chore, or you can make it a fun thing to do. You can make trying new foods gross and, oh, I don't want to try it, and you don't like it or whatever. Or you can make it fun and go, what is this new thing? It's a conscious decision. You decide how you approach things, and you can make it a chore or you can make it exciting. I feel like I'm talking to the 8-year-old because I tell him that all the time with his chores. I'm like, you can talk about folding your laundry for the next half hour, but you're still going to do it, or you could just do it while you're watching TV and have a good time and be done. Same approach. So parent yourself the way you would parent your kids. I think it will help. So All right, so you also asked some staples that I have on hand. My staples that I always have red peppers because my kids will eat them raw, and so will I all the time. Um, Staples. I always have a couple onions for things. I always have canned green beans because, again, we like them. I don't know why, but we do. I always have bags of frozen broccoli, frozen cauliflower, and like frozen crazy mixed vegetables just to mix things up. And frozen peas. Always frozen peas. Because both kids will eat peas frozen. Literally just frozen. They'll just eat them like a snack. Which is really funny. But other than that, those few staples, I go with the flow. I go with what's on sale. I go with what I got in the CSA. I go with what looks good at the farmer's market. And I have fun with it. Okay, I have about a minute. So, I can't do the last question. I'm sorry. I really want to, but I can't. All right, so I'm going to go. I hope I didn't ramble too much and bore you. Sorry for my little technical difficulty, but I'm going to leave a little early, get a few steps on the Fitbit, walk down to the bus stop. That would be called the do what I can moment. If you haven't been following the pound WYC, or what I like to call Wick Wick on Twitter, join us and do what you can when you can. And small things equal big changes over time. Okay, I'm going to go. Thanks for watching, guys, or listening. And until next time, bye.